And we're back. Welcome to Mond Life. How to raise your child, ages 1 to 3, part 4. Outsourcing. Always be outsourcing. Raising a child is absolutely exhausting. It's a pain in the ass. Those first 3 years, an absolute nightmare, let's be honest. Nobody really enjoys it. The kids can do piss all. The stinky, I imagine they're keeping you up all night and they don't sleep very well. I actually never had that problem with my first child. She was a perfect sleeper. It was unbelievable. She slept all the way through. So I don't really have much experience in that area. But what I will say, outsourcing, if you can. Now again, I know not everybody can do it, but you should give your child to as many people in as many different situations that are safe as you can. Now, the primary one for this, you've got to mix them, you see. They've got to be socialised. The primary one for this, now, I'm quite low paid. My wife has a decent job. She's the breadwinner. Now, we don't get any help, no benefits or anything like that. Okay? I never whinge about that. Why would I want benefits? But what it did mean is that we had to pay for childcare. Now, we had no other options. So we were forced into paying for childcare 5 days a week. It was very expensive. It was about £700 a month. It wiped us out all our monthly money that used to go on stuff like booze and drugs and all that fun stuff. Yeah? Well, now we've got this baby to look after, okay? Now, once again, I can't be asked. Very, very lazy. But I want my child to get a good education and I want to get it the best start. So what do? I give it to the experts, the childcare experts. They've done certificates and all sorts, right? So 5 days a week. Now I understand not everybody can do that, right? It is very expensive, but we had no choice. But I think even if we did have a choice, I was glad that we did. That kid from the very first day it was born, my wife had 6 months maternity, but after that, that kid was 5 days a week, 9 till 6. You know what I mean? It was putting the hours in at childcare, and it was you'll meet even when you're a baby, you'll meet every single different personality type that there is. A, B, C, right down to D. Dickhead. Now, that's a terrible thing to say about a baby, but they're already there. So you know what I mean? Let's hope your child's not one of them. Because if it's in them, it's in them. Now, so you're socialising them automatically. I never went to childcare. I never met another child apart from my brother until, I was about 4 or whatever. And that's not no way to prepare. I mean, God knows the implications that had on my life and my sociability and all that. I mean, I'm talking to myself in a van at work on my own, and that's the way I likes it. But, my kid is confident. She's sociable. She's out there, she's got unbelievable confidence. It's setting her up for life. If you can afford it, do it. Obviously, if Nana's there for a day or whatever, it's not so bad. But, Nana's not a childcare professional. Unless she is, and then you've lucked out. You know what I mean? Neither of us, it's been shown through lockdown, we have no clue how to raise children. So let's start respecting childcare providers and respecting teachers and all that, okay? Because they know what they're doing. So yeah, that's what you've got to do. Outsource the child. I mean, I would literally see my child for the first 3 years of its life for 1 hour on a morning, where I would start later at work. So I would be responsible for, getting it changed and getting it to childcare and all that. So I'd see it for 1 hour on a morning, and then I'd pick it up at 6 o'clock. I'm calling it. It has a name. And at an hour and a half, 7:30, bedtime, I'd see it on a night. So I'd only see the child 2.5 hours a day. And that was good for the baby, and it was good for me and good for my wife, because that was enough. 2.5 hours. It is exhausting. You're watching them all the time. You can't take your eyes off them. You can't do anything. You can't leave the room. You can't even get up. Your life for those 3 years you're chained to the baby. So 2.5 hours a day, easily enough time. Outsource the baby. Yeah. Mond life, raising a child. Part 4. I'll be back with part 5, which will just be a summary of general things. I've got a couple of things to say about sharing duties between, if you're lucky enough to have a partner, you know what I mean? So I'll be talking about that and generally summing it up. Also, squeezing grapefruits out of your arse.